Okay, this is 5.1-5.4, but this is part C. So we're going to talk about algebra tiles or algebra tiles. So what we have here is it's items that are used to represent algebra. So what we have is we can start with small squares. And these are little tiny squares, and they're either light or dark, and they're going to be known as the constant terms. So for instance, we could have +1, -3, 14. Then we're going to have rectangles, and they're going to be either light or dark, and that's going to represent variables. So that's a, x, -b, any letter that you can come up with. The large squares, again, light or dark, are known as variable squared. So this would be like a squared or x squared or -b squared. Okay, so flip the page, you can actually look at the thing here. So a light, small one would be +1. So if you wanted +5, you'd have 5 of these small little squares. Negative are the dark ones, so that's like -1. So if you had, 5 of these ones, it would be -5. The rectangles can represent any variable. Pick a variable and stick with it throughout. So the light ones would be +x, the negative ones would be -x. And then the large ones are the variable squared. So this would be +x squared and -x squared. Okay, so we're going to use those to represent different things. Okay, so flip the page again. So here's an example. We got one large one, which is pick your variable, like I said, that's a positive, so that's x squared. This is positive, so that's an x, and then that's +1. So you can actually represent a trinomial with picture representations. Okay, so let's look at the next one. These are all negatives now, right? So this is -2x squared minus 3x minus 2. And again, that represents the polynomial there, or the trinomial. Okay, flip one more page. So what we can also talk about then is the degree of a polynomial. So degrees, in this case, is the largest exponent of every variable. So look at this first one here. So 3a plus 2. So the variable there is a, and what's above that a? Well, there's a 1 there. So our degree is a 1. We have a 7x squared minus 3. So there's our variable there. What's the exponent of 2? So the degree of this one is a 2. Now this one, -5, has no variable. So it has a degree of 0. All right, let's look at the last piece here. And this one is sometimes polynomials, again, can be written out as algebra tiles. You can rearrange them. So this is kind of cool. So what you can do is if you look at this first one here, you see all these light squares, you can order them in one after another. So bang, order them one after another. So there's 5 of them there. So that's +5. And we can order the negative ones underneath, those ones there. Now here's the cool thing, a positive and a negative. Do they cancel out? Yes, they do. So you can wipe out those two, wipe out the next two, and wipe out the next two. And what are you left with? 2 small squares, which would be +2. Okay, look at the last one here. So we have these 2 large ones, which are the x squares. One's positive, one's negative. They wipe each other out. The x is over here. One's positive, one negative. They wipe each other out. And the numbers here, the 1 and the -1, wipe each other out. So what's left? 1 large square and 2 rectangles. So that would be -x squared, which represents the first one here, and -2x, which represents the second one. Okay, so that is the end of 5.1 to 5.4. I guess we didn't need 4 lessons for that. We can just do it in 3. Look for the other videos on 5.5 to 5.6.